I think Cash summed it up. I mean, it was awful. I mean, we accomplished nothing. We didn't win a division, didn't make it to the playoffs, didn't win a series in the playoffs, much less a championship. I went over the winning record. That's a requirement as far as I'm concerned. So the fans didn't get anywhere close to what they deserve. But, we're all very passionate about this. We're working our ass off. And, we're going to do everything we can to right the ship for 2024. But bad year.
Back in June, you were on the Michael Kay show, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but it was something along the lines of, if the season doesn't get better and or make the playoffs, I'm going to ask some tough questions. I was wondering if you could specify what were those tough questions that you asked and who did you ask them to?
Well, I've asked a lot of questions. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But obviously, the first questions that I asked had to do with, should Aaron Boone be our manager next year? I believe, based on a lot of things, that he's a good manager, but I didn't want to take my opinion this time around. I wanted to talk to a number of people, which I did. I talked to players, talked to some ex-players like Pettit, Swisher, who spent a lot of time in the clubhouse this year, talked to Sabian, Omar, and others. And without giving them my opinion on the call, they all came to the same conclusion, which is Aaron is a good manager and he should be our manager in 2024. So that was certainly the first big question, the first big decision I needed to make. What other questions have I asked? Many, 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 starting with what goes on in New York, what goes on with a major league club, obviously all the way down to where I'm at right now at the Himes Complex and what we're doing in the minor league levels.
Hal, thank you for taking the time. You mentioned early on that you have great support for Aaron Boone. I'm just curious. He has yet to win a championship for you, so I'd like to know what you like about him.
Why I think he's a good manager? Yeah, he's extremely intelligent. He's hardworking. If the players respect him as a manager, they want to play for him and win for him. I mean, these are, to me, very important things. And he's a balanced guy, which I kind of alluded to before, in that he's able to take all the information we throw his way from both sides, and he's able to, to log it all in and, work with his coaches. He's great with his coaching staff. So, one of the most important things to me, the most important thing, yes, is winning championships. So that I understand where you're going with that. But if a manager doesn't have the respect of his players and the players don't want to play and win for him, that would always be a problem with me. But in talking to current players, as I told you I did, that's absolutely not the case. And that's a big deal to me in the clubhouse.
Can you give us an idea of what we can target for these changes? People obviously do not want to repeat, you guys and the fans as well, of what happened this year. Can you give us an idea of what the changes Judge had hinted at and what you have in mind going forward?
I don't want to get specific about our inner workings of the company here, Dave, but clearly bringing in this outside company to look at our analytics. And I know it's been referred to as an audit. It's really not that. It's a collaboration, a year-long collaboration where, and Cash can explain this better than me, we're going to look at their systems and their processes that they use to analyze data and make decisions. These are processes that come from their years in the industry of experience before they started this company, and also from their experience with other major league clubs that they've worked with. We're then going to take all that, what we've learned, and compare it to what we do and the way that we analyze the data and make decisions and the processes we have. And, there could very well be some areas where we feel, we need to do better and change. So, I mean, clearly that's going to be a big deal. We're obviously getting a new hitting coach. That's going to be a significant deal. We did not get where we needed to be with run production last year. Probably our biggest problem, I would say. So there's going to be some big changes, but we're looking at so much that there's going to be changes some people might not consider significant, but Judge and I may, because, we're doing this every day.
Hey, Hal. Hal, you described 82 wins as unacceptable, and you said there are big changes. So if I'm right, the two big changes are replacing a hitting coach who left and adding an outside analytic group that's done nothing so far. Am I missing other big changes you've made to what you feel is unacceptable?
Well, that is a change, bringing Zealous on, Joel. That's an absolute change. And, the hitting coach is a change as well. And, he decided, I never got into the discussions about what we would do or not do. It didn't happen. He decided he wanted to be with his family more. But those are big changes, whether Zealous has begun or not. If you're asking about personnel changes, there might be some, but there might be none. And as far as the other changes, Joel, again, changes that we make, that Aaron Judge and I may think, this is a pretty significant change. You guys may not. I just don't know. But changes will be made. It's whether or not you guys consider them significant or not, I can't control. But as much stuff as we're looking at and as many topics as we're talking about, I have no doubt there's going to be some changes.
Do you wonder about how fans interpret your guys' ability to lead and ability to turn this around without giving them something, substantial as to what you guys are looking to change?
Well, look, I just mentioned two really big changes, and they may very well be the biggest changes by the time this is all done. I just don't want to get into details about what we might be looking at in player development, what we might be looking, at the big league level. And again, they're changes that might be significant as far as we're concerned, or the players are concerned, but may not seem too significant to you guys or the fans. But I mean, it's all an effort to right this ship and be operating in the most efficient way and the most successful way that we can. And again, there's so many things we're looking at and still haven't made changes on yet because discussions just began 3 weeks ago and are continuing. Let me give you I'll give an example. So one thing that was discussed in August is bunting. I mean, I think Aaron Boone thinks that we're not teaching the young players to bunt enough. What we do in player development is, try to evolve with the game. Bunting is less a part of the game than it was 10 years ago. I looked it up. 10 years ago, I think the average team bunted successfully, sacrificed bunts like 30 times in an entire season. Now that number's down to like 12 or 13.